Hello everyone, and welcome to my Y&R Daily Spoiler channel. Matt Clark free, Phyllis shocking betrayal. Matt Clark walks out of prison. But here's the twist. His release didn't happen by accident. The Phyllis factor. At first glance, Phyllis Summers seems completely unconnected to Matt's case. She's been busy navigating corporate maneuvering, romantic entanglements, and her never-ending rivalry with the Newmans. But insiders reveal something shocking. Phyllis has been quietly funding a legal advocacy foundation that reviews questionable convictions. Publicly, it's about justice reform. Privately, it's about leverage. When Matt's case crossed her desk, she recognized the name immediately and the potential ripple effect his release could have on certain key players in Genoa City. Especially one man, Nick Newman. Why would Phyllis do this? That's the question everyone will be asking. Phyllis insists she had no personal involvement in Matt's case, only financial support for the foundation. She claims she didn't even realize Matt would be one of the beneficiaries. But those who know Phyllis know better. This is a woman who thinks 10 moves ahead. Matt Clark's release destabilizes Nick. It reopens wounds for Sharon Newman. It rattles the Newman family's carefully maintained emotional balance. And Phyllis has been feeling sidelined lately. Coincidence? Not likely. Sharon's world shaken. When Sharon learns that Matt is free, the emotional fallout is immediate. Old trauma resurfaces. Memories she buried long ago claw back to the surface. Her stability, hard-earned over years of growth, is tested in ways she never expected. Sharon confronts Nick, demanding to know how this happened. Nick is blindsided. He had no idea a review was underway. But when whispers begin circulating that Phyllis Foundation funded the legal process that led to Matt's release, the tension becomes unbearable. Sharon feels betrayed on multiple levels. And she's not alone. Nick confronts Phyllis. The confrontation between Nick and Phyllis is explosive. Nick demands the truth. Did she know? Did she suspect? Did she understand what this would do to Sharon, to their children? Phyllis doesn't deny funding the foundation. But she insists she never specifically targeted Matt's case. She even argues that if Matt was wrongfully convicted, justice should prevail regardless of personal discomfort. Nick sees through the logic. This isn't about justice. It's about power. It's about reminding everyone, especially the Newmans, that Phyllis still has influence. And Nick doesn't like feeling manipulated. Matt returns to Genoa City. As if his release wasn't shocking enough, Matt doesn't stay quiet. He returns to Genoa City. He claims he wants closure, redemption, a chance to clear his name publicly. But his presence alone is destabilizing. He approaches Sharon first. Their encounter is tense, emotional, and deeply unsettling. Matt insists is changed. He says prison gave him perspective. He wants forgiveness. Sharon isn't sure she can even breathe in the same room as him. Meanwhile, Nick's protective instincts go into overdrive. Phyllis' true agenda revealed. Here's where things take a darker turn. Spoilers tease that Phyllis did more than just fund a foundation. She personally pushed for Matt's case to be prioritized. Why? Because she discovered something in the original trial records, inconsistencies that could implicate powerful figures in manipulating testimony years ago. One of those figures may have ties to Victor Newman. If Victor influenced the outcome of Matt's conviction for personal reasons, perhaps to protect the Newman family, that opens a legal and reputational nightmare. Phyllis isn't just stirring emotional chaos. She may be setting up the ultimate corporate and personal weapon against Victor. The shocking betrayal. But the biggest shock isn't that Phyllis maneuvered behind the scenes. It's who she betrays in the process. Lauren Fenmore. Lauren Fenmore trusted Phyllis with sensitive information about old legal archives connected to Michael's past cases. Phyllis used that access to identify procedural weaknesses in Matt's conviction. Lauren discovers the truth when she notices missing documentation and connects the dots. She confronts Phyllis, and the betrayal cuts deep. This wasn't business. This was personal trust violated. Phyllis tries to justify it as strategic necessity. Lauren calls it what it is. A calculated betrayal. Their friendship may never recover. Victor strikes back. Once Victor realizes Phyllis may be using Matt's release as leverage against him, he doesn't stay silent. Victor begins investigating the foundation's funding sources. He digs into Phyllis' financial trail. and he discovers something explosive, a transfer that could be interpreted as direct interference in a legal proceeding. If Victor exposes it, Phyllis could face criminal scrutiny. The hunter becomes the hunted. Sharon's breaking point. Meanwhile, Sharon's emotional state continues deteriorating under the strain. She feels like a pawn in a larger power game between Victor and Phyllis. When she learns that Phyllis may have intentionally accelerated Matt's release, knowing it would impact her, Sharon confronts her publicly. The scene is fiery. Sharon accuses Phyllis of weaponizing trauma. Phyllis fires back that Sharon has always played the victim while manipulating sympathy. The argument escalates until Nick intervenes. But the damage is done. Matt's hidden motive. Just when viewers think Matt is simply a pawn, spoilers hint at another twist. Matt may have entered into a quiet agreement with Phyllis. In exchange for her support during the review process, Matt agreed to provide testimony about past Newman interference in legal matters. If that testimony surfaces, it could devastate Victor's standing. But there's a catch. Matt may not be as reformed as he claims. His obsession with Sharon may not be fully extinguished. If Phyllis believes she can control him, she may be dangerously mistaken. The Newman family divided. Nick is furious. Victoria is suspicious. Adam sees opportunity. Victoria Newman argues that Phyllis has crossed a moral line that even their father rarely touches. Adam Newman, on the other hand, sees Phyllis as a potential ally in weakening Victor's dominance. The family fractures along familiar fault lines, and Victor prepares for war. The ultimate fallout. Spoilers tease a massive public confrontation at a high-profile Newman Enterprises event. Matt appears unexpectedly. Reporters are present. Phyllis watches from a calculated distance. Matt begins speaking about wrongful conviction and systemic corruption, hinting at powerful interference without naming names. Victor locks eyes with Phyllis across the room. The message is clear. This means war. Will Phyllis regret it? For once, even Phyllis may feel the weight of her choices. Nick distances himself emotionally. Lauren cuts ties. Sharon's pain becomes impossible to ignore. And Matt's unpredictable behavior begins raising red flags. If Matt spirals or re-offends, the blame may land squarely on Phyllis' shoulders. Her plan to gain leverage could backfire spectacularly. What this means for Y&R. This storyline has the potential to reshape relationships across Genoa City. Phyllis risks becoming irredeemable. Victor's past could be exposed. Sharon's stability hangs in the balance. Nick may finally sever ties with Phyllis for good. Matt Clark's presence could reignite old nightmares. Most importantly, it shifts the moral landscape. For years, Victor has been the master manipulator. Now Phyllis may have proven she can play just as ruthlessly. Final shock tease. Insiders hint at one final twist still to come. Evidence suggesting that Matt's original conviction may not have been entirely flawed, meaning his release could unravel for entirely new reasons. If that happens, Phyllis' grand strategy collapses, and everyone will know she gambled with people's lives to score a point against the Newmans. In Genoa City, revenge is a dangerous currency, and this time, Phyllis may have spent more than she can afford.